I like going and meeting people face to face and building relationships. Naturally, confidentiality is very important to these people, so I appreciate having the conversation later in private about somebody they might be concerned about, or it might even be a project that they might have that just isn't really going that well and they want to change directions. But most of the time, it is word of mouth on how I get to find out about what businesses are available. There's never a bad question, in my opinion.
You're listening to Brainwork Framework, a business and marketing podcast, brought to you by focus-biz.com.
Welcome back to another episode. With us today is a special guest, Jessica Dragan. She helps private equity and merger and acquisition strategists, helping investors find, structure, and close profitable deals. Jessica, so excited to have you on. How are you doing?
I'm so grateful to see you again. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, Jessica. Instead of going into your previous journey, which we've heard on another podcast episode, I wanted to get into who you are and who are you helping right now with your business?
Who I am, that's a loaded question. I'm helping clients right now in buying their first business. They understand that real wealth creation is by buying businesses versus starting your own. And so my clients, I get to teach them about the due diligence and what they're looking for to spot red flags and even talk about how we're going to grow for their return of investment when they do finally buy their business.
Very interesting. It can be easier just to buy an already existing business. The systems and processes and people are already in place, and they probably have a book of business that comes with it as well. What is some of the focus? Is there a certain industry that you focus on, or do buyers just come to you and say, I'm looking for this, and then you start going through your connections and finding businesses worth selling?
It's a little bit of both. My background is in the wellness industry to include pets. That's kind of where my focus is for businesses in particular. However, when you're building business, one of the goals is to buy a business that you already might be buying the services. Like, for instance, you might need a marketing person. You might go out and get a marketing business to add that to your business. And with my investors and going through my book of people to connect them with other stuff, all my other investors have different focuses. And if there's something that I don't want to work on, I could probably find an investor that does want to work on your project.
Oh, interesting. Now, I know the world of private equity, that term in itself has been tarnished from previous corporations who come in and basically resell or re-rent the assets back to a company and end up putting them under. Can you tell me how that's wrong or in what ways private equity can be positive and good?
Well, for me, being a business owner completely on accident, I get the business owner at whatever stage that they're in. There was a part of me that loved what I was doing so much, you couldn't keep me away from it. It's all I thought about from the time I woke up till the time I went to bed. But then there was a point in the business where I absolutely hated it. Just didn't know what to do with this thing. I have amazing clients and they're pretty impressive portfolio, but also what on earth would I do after this?
Right.
And when I started learning about private equity, I was like, that's it. That's totally what I want to do. It's so exciting to me to be able to start a project and learn as I go through it. I tend to be a little more hands-off. Hands-on. I actually got to stop doing that because the goal is to be above the business, but I am an overachiever and I love figuring out every little detail about the business. And I think there's a part of pride that I have to show new employees, like, look, I've done it too. I think there's some validation for that, but that's a habit that I actually have to break. On the private equity side, for me personally, I'm not looking to fix and flip a business. I want to hold it and I'm going to want to nurture it. And I'm probably going to want the business owner to stay with me for a little bit. What that looks like is you might spend 6 months to a year with me if you're really serious about retiring. But I find that some business owners just really love doing the sales. We'll keep that position for you and then I'll take on the rest of the responsibilities for you.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Now, for those who might be interested in priming their business to get ready to be sold, what are some factors that people who are buying businesses look for? How should we prepare our business to get ready to be sold?
First and foremost, you have to understand that we're not buying a business based on potential. We're looking at the business as it is exactly is to date and for the last 3 years. It's really important that you understand that. And I know that business owners might be a little disappointed and feel like their business is worth more, and it probably is. But that's when you're going to want to look into the deal that you might want to stay on it so you can reap the benefits of the potential that happens down the line.
Right. And I think that highlights something important is that there's no shortage of great ideas. What is often lacking is the action and execution that it takes to see those ideas through. People aren't really buying an idea or a dream or a potential profit. It's just the reality of where the business is currently at.
Right. I want to give people, business owners, and investors a realistic expectation about what your business might potentially be worth.
Absolutely. And are there any red flags when it comes to buying or selling businesses, things you say, hey, this is an indicator that it's not a healthy business or it's not going to be a good investment for us?
That is a good question. I was helping other investors looking at a business and they sent over the financials. And without diving deep into those financials, I realized that some of the numbers, they didn't make sense whatsoever. They were inflated or underinflated, or the balance sheet had the wrong company name on it.
Ouch.
I know you can fool some people, but if you're really paying attention, things like that just jump out and scream at you. So what I want to say is don't be disappointed in any aspect of your company. The only way to get past it and to grow is to be transparent and honest with it. And make sure you put the right company name on there.
Yeah, don't Xerox another business company information into it and just present these numbers as if they're your own.
Yeah, because it's just going to blow up in the future. And I know that myself and my investors are very concerned about the risk. And you make yourself very risky if you're not being transparent on it. However, the business is as it is, I promise you we have a solution for that.
Now, when you're working with all these businesses, I know we talked about red flags, but is there kind of a common trait, a commonality between businesses that are failing? Is there something that they're doing wrong or not doing that they should turn their attention to?
I know the struggle is real on deciding what you're going to pay for, especially when you're leaking out money and you want to improve and you know you should do it. But the only way that's going to get better is if you take the leap to make sure you solve that problem. And it can be pricey, but in the long run, you'll be glad you did it.
Absolutely. In your line of business and service work, it seems like continuing education, marketing business is always expanding and changing. Do you have any plans for continuing education certifications down the road now?
Oh, I'm a professional student. I'm always learning something.
Yay.
Freaking stop me.
Great.
You cannot stop me. My biggest love right now is AI. I'm absolutely just in love with what AI is doing, how fast it's changing the landscape, and I'm excited for the opportunities for the underdog kind of come up because now we have this super tool. It's very exciting to me.
Absolutely. And speaking of AI, what ways are you using AI in your business? Is this a mix of ChatGPT? Do you have any example use cases you can provide for that?
You want to give away the trade secrets, Chris?
No, not all of it, but I know some people are using it for brainstorming. Some people are even having it draft templates for either grant writing or business acquisitions. It's really cool. It's a great tool. It's just whatever you choose to use it for. It has a variety of purposes.
I really can't spell at all, and ChatGPT has been my savior on that one, and I'll never change, unfortunately. And I think it was brought up to me that I should take a class in a foreign language, and I was like, I can't spell in our regular language, right? How is that going to work? I like to use it for my writing for sure. I love the attachment feature where it can look through attachments for me and bullet point. It gets straight to the point. I'm going to learn how to get my books on there because I just don't have any, I can't focus to read a book. But there's so much information in books. And I'm going to figure that out. I just found out there's a way to do it. I just got to listen. And that I'm excited about being able to get the information I need from books without having to literally sit there and read one.
Yeah, there's like 1,001 uses for ChatGPT and just LLMs in general. I do a lot of brainstorming and writing with it. The attachment feature is huge.
Yeah.
Uploading documents to then compile into a spreadsheet for me. I took what would have been maybe a 4 to 6 hour project and turned it into an hour and a half, even with my own double check. I was like, wow, this is really fantastic. But again, it's just another tool in the toolbox. And I do agree that it's opening up more opportunities for the small business owner, solopreneur to do more with less. Now we have access to the tools and resources that a lot of these big box companies used to have. Now it's just leveling the playing field. And now it's like, okay, what else can I do with this tool?
Well, you know what's wonderful too is Chat GPT has become a wonderful cheerleader for me and tells me when I'm doing a good job. Says happy anniversary to me. I don't have friends that say happy anniversary to me. Like, what? It's just fun to use.
I hear a lot of people even using ChatGPT as a therapist. They just talk through their issues or their problems, and it can
Yeah.
even provide you some clarity. I've done that before. I'll just brain dump my ideas, and it'll provide me a structured format, maybe even an action plan. I'm like, wow, thank you, ChatGPT. You're so
And it
sweet.
just spits everything out. We just this piece right here. What's next?
Isn't it crazy? One, that it can understand our questions even when we misspell or
Yeah.
refer to something out of context. And
Yeah.
the fact that it thinks 3 to 10 steps ahead. I mean, if I mention I want a social media post, it's like, okay, here's the title, the copy, and the keyword, and the description. And here's one for each platform. And you didn't even ask me all these questions, but it's almost preemptively expecting you to ask those questions. It's like, I'm just going to answer it for you right away. Here you go. Super helpful.
It's so helpful. And even I was asking about my cat on there, and chat pointed out that my cat is being a fluffy CEO and we're in tough negotiations.
I love
We
that.
doesn't
That's
get any
amazing.
better. Mm. And I
That-
know that people struggle with paying for the subscription for ChatGPT. I will always pay that. It's such a lifesaver.
ab-
The top tier, I probably should look into it, but I'm completely happy with what I have right now and well worth the investment.
Even the free to use model is pretty accessible for most people. And then I think the next paid plan is $20 per month. And that took it to another level. I was like, this is absolutely worth the investment. I got my money's worth. I'm trying different tools within the platform. Their video generator, it's a bit touchy, it's different, but we've seen the progress that AI has made. You remember the Will Smith eating spaghetti video benchmark, right? That was the original AI from years ago. Have you seen the newest Will Smith eating spaghetti? It's pretty
No,
impressive.
I'm gonna have to look this up.
You're going to have to. If you're curious how far AI has come, check out Will Smith eating spaghetti, and that will be a good benchmark for how videos come.
And I'm so glad that you brought that up because I was thinking too, it still has a little work to do. And somebody pointed out it's the prompts. You have to improve your prompts. I'm just like,
Yes.
thank God.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it was
Yep.
user error that it's significantly improved. And I just can't wait to see where it all goes, to be honest with you.
Absolutely. And I've heard from other podcast guests to treat ChatGPT like a child prodigy. They know everything in the world, possibly there is to know, but you need to be specific and direct in your instructions to get an end result. And if you're not happy with the end result, play with your prompt, test things out, or provide an example output. This is how I expect this blog or the social media or this template to look created in this format. And you'll be much happier with your results. But the prompting has been huge. The more you can refine that, the better it's going to know about your business and what you expect it to do.
And when you're having a little trouble, walk away for a little bit and breathe and do something and then come back and you'll get what you're looking for.
Yes, I totally agree. I have more questions about the business acquisition part. I want to ask what pieces of the business are like, what assets are most valuable to those who are trying to buy a business? Is it the book of business? Is it intellectual property? Is it actual machines and assets or the people? What kind of positive assets should people focus on when trying to sell their business?
When you're dealing with people, it's always going to be a different answer. They're all looking for different things as far as what they want. For me, the best asset you could have is your lead list, really.
Hmm. Absolutely. That book of business and just knowing what potential prospects you can work off of. I think it just lets you know about the industry as a whole and what current business is expected and what future potential could be.
Right, because there was a business I looked at not too long ago, and I'm so sad about this business because I knew that the business owner had been with this business for at least 30 years, and she was probably going to get ready to close up. I approached her and she said that one of her employees was going to buy the business. And then a year later, I see that they're doing everything must go sale. They're closing it down. And I was like, oh, wait, what? No. I contacted her. She's like, well, we could talk about it if you want to, but there's no going back. I already did the outgoing business sale. And I said, okay. And I went to the store to go check it out, and it was pretty much empty, and it just looked very depressing in there. But I learned a couple things. One, the cashier was making up prices for the product as she was ringing it up. They were handwriting everything that was being sold through the store. There was no email list for over 30 years of business. They had no ways of reaching any of their customers. And I know they had a good following because every time I went into that store, it was always full of people. I know that they did really well, and they really dropped the ball on some major things that I would have liked to have seen to buy that business.
Absolutely. And that one could have potentially saved the business or just been a bigger asset in order to sell it. I think that highlights the importance of owning your own data, especially not relying on other platforms. You want to own some of your customers' data, their email, their phone, ways to reach them and contact them, because that's valuable information. Just communicating directly with your audience, with your clients, that is invaluable.
Absolutely. You can imagine why I'm so sad that didn't work out.
Yeah. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of more opportunities that come down the road and will either be very exciting and some will be letdowns. But I think that's just the journey of being a business owner and part of that journey.
We had another one, a wellness center. This wonderful woman, she was trying to sell her business for 3 years. But the problem is she wouldn't talk to more than one investor at one time. Was that Business 101? You don't just keep your talks with one person. As investors dropped off, she lost that time to be able to work with another investor to sell it. And then eventually it came to a point where the business started falling apart and there was nothing to buy. She only had 2 part-time chiropractors. Half of the office was being rented to another entity, and then they put their notice and they were walked. The massage therapist was retiring. There was literally nothing to buy at this point. That's sad to me as well.
Yeah, but these are things you find out in the discovery phase as you're doing your due diligence, either for yourself or for your clients. And these things will pop up when you pull back the curtains a little bit. You find out a little bit more, either for better or for worse.
Right.
Absolutely. Now, Jessica, going into 2025 here, are there any certain trends that you're seeing pop up in 2025 or just the general landscape in business mindset going forward?
I think things are changing so fast at an incredible rate right now. It's really hard to predict exactly how it's going to go. I think it's scary for people, but I do see a shift in the employees, as in, I think there's going to be a lot more employees available to help those struggling businesses out that are busy that need the manpower. So that makes me really excited.
Absolutely. It's something to look forward to as these shifts and changes in the dynamics of the economy happen. It's just up to us as business owners and either the workforce to find that balance and just make a benefit for everyone going forward as the dynamics change a bit.
Yeah, and I want to say to the employees too, a lot of you guys are so valuable, but you're walking around like you're not. I just look at your resume and I'm already blown away by what you have, but you're like, no, I'm not good enough. I have other people that are more qualified than me. And it's like, it's too bad. I want employees to pat themselves on the back a little bit, acknowledge you've learned a few things and you have something to contribute. And there's somebody that needs you. Believe me, don't give up.
Absolutely. And you don't need to be that absolute expert in that field to
Yeah.
have a shot for running for that position. Oftentimes, a lot of businesses are looking for something different and unique. Maybe they're looking for someone with slightly different background experience that is going to be helpful, but it's up to you as the employee to have that confidence first to present that to them. But just have to put yourself out there.
And sometimes it's not that serious. Business owners just need a body.
Get anybody help.
Sneak in there and land yourself a really good job just because they need a body right now. It's up to you on your performance, but it's an opportunity.
Absolutely. And in the meantime, until the dynamics in the workforce change, we also have a paid sponsorship from focus-biz.com offering AI employees who can double your organic leads nurture and book them on autopilot. So until you wait for the workforce to come through, you can go to focus-biz.com to learn more. Jessica, I want to ask you more about 2025 as we're getting started. What's been working well for you in the marketing sense? Are you doing networking? Is it relationship building? Any sort of outbound or inbound tactics that have been working for you in business?
Before you jump into that, I want to tell you that I love Focus Biz.
You do. Thanks.
Great company. This is very knowledgeable, excellent communication, and you got to use them.
Hey, chat, clip that. Thank you. That's very nice.
No, you're very good at what you do. And I think people should utilize you. So there you go.
I think so too, but it's nice to hear it from you. I appreciate that.
Sure.
That's great. No, we have good conversations. You bring some great business questions, and we have good banter back and forth just about business and life. So appreciate that partnership working together, and it's always a pleasure. So thank you.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely. But for me right now, it's a lot of my deal flow is coming through networking and getting out in the community and meeting other business owners. And you get to find those little nuggets of businesses that need to get rid of it or just want to move on and do something else, or they've grown out of it, or life has changed a little bit. And I like going and meeting people face to face and building relationships.
Yes, absolutely. The relationship building aspect of business is incredibly huge for us. So to know kind of what's working well for you and what's not is super insightful for a lot of other people getting started because they either lack the direction and clarity that they need, or they might not be a people person. So they're trying other tactics. But for you, have you ever found where maybe you thought you might work directly with an individual, but they instead brought another partner or a referral opportunity to you? I kind of want to highlight how referrals can potentially benefit a business.
What happens all the time when I get to go out and meet people, they usually tell me, "Oh yeah, my friend is having a problem. I need to call you and talk to you about it later." Naturally, confidentiality is very important to these people, so I appreciate having the conversation later in private about somebody they might be concerned about, or it might even be a project that they might have that just isn't really going that well and they want to change directions. But most of the time, it is word of mouth on how I get to find out about what businesses are available.
Nice. And even from that description, it sounds like they were already pre-warmed leads because they know you, trust you, know what you do already, and you were already top of mind as someone was going through a problem. That's just highlights the importance of you getting out there. You can't be found and get in front of the right people if you're just inside your house and you don't meet and network with people. Speaking of, where can people find you online and get connected with you?
On LinkedIn, I love that platform. You find me on there most of the time.
You got it. And we'll have that link available down in the description and the show notes here. Now, Jessica, is there anything we haven't asked yet that you want to talk about? Just want to open up the platform to you.
No, I think we covered a good spectrum of things to consider, and I look forward to hearing any kind of questions that people might have. There's never a bad question, in my opinion.
Very well said. Excellent. And for everyone interested, make sure you get connected with Jessica Dragan here with all the contact information below down in the show notes and the description. Jessica, thank you again for taking the time. We appreciate it. Looking forward to 2025.
Thank you. Me too.